Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on your time zone. So the title of this talk is Applied AI Practical Use Case, Content Classification of Network Drives. We would like to thank our sponsors. Without the sponsors, their help from them, this event is not possible. So we request you to visit the sponsors virtual booth, and each sponsor have some nice giveaways for the attendees as well. So who am I? My name is Prashant G Bhoyar. I was born and raised in India. I came to United States back in 2007 for studies. I am University of Maryland College Park alumni. I co-authored a book, PowerShell for Office 65. I also acted as a technical reviewer for the book Pro SharePoint 2013 Administration. I am from Washington DC area of United States of America. And pre-COVID-19 pandemic, we used to organize a lot of in-person conferences. Post COVID-19 pandemic, we have converted all our conferences to virtual only. So if you are interested, you can join us by just visiting the various links on the meetup.com. We have various groups depending on for various Microsoft technologies, like we have group for AI and machine learning. We have a group for Microsoft 65 or Office 65, and we also have a group for the SQL. And these are some of the upcoming events that we are planning. So if you're interested, you can just go to the meetup.com and find more information about the registration, the call for speaker, etc. I am a recipient of Antarctic Service Medal from United States government, and also I'm a recipient of Microsoft MVP award. Those of you who are not familiar with this award, so I don't work for Microsoft. It's just additional recognition that Microsoft gives out to the folks who does technical contribution in various product categories. And this award is only valid for 1 year. And after 1 year, you had to submit your contributions from previous year. And if the contributions are good enough, then you get rewarded for additional 1 year. So I'm getting this award since 2017. For initial couple of years, I was an MVP in Office 65, especially SharePoint. And then since 2019, I changed my category to AI. So right now I work as Senior Solution Architect at Withum Digital. Withum is a East Coast based company in United States of America. We recently opened office in California of US and also Bangalore, India. And inside Withum, I focus on intelligent business process automation, where I use variety of the product and services in Microsoft ecosystem like Azure, Azure AI, bots, Power Platform, products, Microsoft 65 products like SharePoint, Teams, etc. And I worked at Withum's Washington DC office. This is the quick information about our company. We have done 100 plus Microsoft Cloud deployments. We have 2 Microsoft MVPs on the staff, and we have 50 plus consultants dedicated to ecosystem only. And we are providing services in Microsoft ecosystem last 17 years. Some of the capabilities that we have the division that I work for. As I mentioned, you can go to this link to join us at the future events. Let's talk about the today's session. So we'll talk about the approach. We'll talk about what is AI. We'll talk about what are the cognitive services. And then we'll talk about content classification. We'll have lots of demos and the key takeaways and Q&A. I have dual monitors, so if you have any questions, feel free to post your questions in the chat window. I will be monitoring the chat window as well. So now let's talk about why this session, why we should be learning about AI, machine learning, and bots. So I personally think because of all the advancement that is happening in computation, the tech industry in general is focusing on using AI in business application. You will be hearing a lot of buzz or hype around driverless car or autonomous car. The reason we can have that right now is because we have a computation power to support that. And I think the AI ML space is at the same stage when mobile development was when iPhone 1 was launched. So if you go back 13 years, 2007, when Apple introduced iPhone 1, very few companies were writing software for mobile devices that time. Fast forward 13 years, majority of the development that's happening these days is for mobile apps. So same thing will happen with AI and machine learning, where in next 2 3 years, the AI and machine learning will be mainstream. That means if I'm a project sponsor, then I want to make sure the custom application I'm building, or enterprise app I'm building, or a product I'm building, actually using AI and machine learning to have some intelligence in it. And one of the key stats I would like to highlight here is, and these stats are old, these stats are from holiday season of 2017, where Amazon sold millions of Alexa devices. Now, Alexa is nothing but a voice based bot from Amazon. Similarly, we have Google Home from Google, we have Cortana from Microsoft. So, the shift we have seen in the industry is, and this shift happens without we even knowing it, is if people get comfortable using something in their personal life, sooner or later you will find the same kind of devices getting used for work as well. iPhone 1 or smartphone is a really good example, where people started using iPhone or smartphone in their personal lives, and sooner within few years you start seeing that same kind of devices got used in work as well. So same thing will happen with devices like Alexa, Google Home, and Cortana, where if millions and millions of people get comfortable using these devices at home, sooner or later you will find the same kind of devices sitting at your desk. And you as IT pro, or you as a developer, or you as a consumer, they need to know how to use these devices, how to write applications for these devices, and how to support the application on these devices. And another thing is, what happened is, in last 3 4 years, the big corporations like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, IBM, what they have done is they have launched something called AI as a service, where to use that service you don't need to be a data scientist, and to use that service you don't need to understand the machine learning part of it. Data science and machine learning are very hard trade to master, but since these services are available as a service to us, it's very easy to infuse intelligence in your application. The analogy I would like to give you here is, if you have done any kind of web development, then you may have heard about the popular JavaScript frameworks like Angular or React. To use these frameworks, you don't need to understand how these frameworks got built from the ground up. All you need to know is how to use this framework in your application and make your applications intelligent. So I will be covering one of the AI as a service from Microsoft today, which is cognitive services, and how we can use that to classify the contents in the network drives. So the approach I will be taking is, so this session is geared towards non-data scientist. That means the target is developer, IT pro, and power user. So before we jump into start talking about a practical application of AI, let's spend a 1 minute on talking about AI, because setting the right expectation with AI is really important. So this is the definition of AI, which is the effort to automate intellectual tasks normally performed by humans. And this definition is I got from AI researcher from Google, Francois Cholet. And AI is not new to humanity. Like we as a humans is using AI since World War II. A lot of applications we use today, you may not even notice, or we are using from last 10 years, you may not even notice that using AI in the back end. For example, if you are using thermostat or temperature controller in your home, then depending on what temperature you select, that thermostat or temperature controller will make sure the same kind of temperature is maintained in that specific room or in the specific office. Now, when it comes to AI, AI can be categorized into three hierarchies. One is the strong AI, where machines are so powerful they can invade other planets, they can destroy other planets. The strong AI only exists in science fiction movies and novels. Second category is artificial general intelligence, or AGI, where machines are very popular, powerful, and they can perform really complicated tasks which are difficult for an average human being. The example of that is, if you have seen Marvel Comics franchise Iron Man, that main character in Iron Man, Tony Stark, has a personal assistant called Jarvis, and Jarvis is very intelligent. He can perform really complicated tasks. However, AGI right now exists in science fiction movies and novels only. Where we are right now is we are at weak AI, where we have specialized services for specialized tasks. Now, one of the service that you may be seeing on your screen is, so I am speaking in English, and I'm using an inbuilt feature in PowerPoint, speech to text. And this service, but this particular service, what it's doing is in real time, it's translating my speech, which is in English, to the Greek language. So we are here right now where we have specialized services for specialized tasks. So setting the level of expectation whenever you're working on an AI project is really, really important, because when it comes to AI, a lot of people just start thinking about the Skynets or the guardians of galaxies. So we are not there yet where we are at weak AI, and we as a humanity are trying to progress from weak AI to AGI, and from AGI to strong AI. And the biggest bottleneck for us is right now is the processing power. So the more processing power we will have, the journey of us from VKI to AGI will be sooner than later. And these are the different terms you will be hearing or you'll be reading about, but all these different terms are part of the AI. So this is the mission statement from Microsoft, where they want to make data science and AI accessible to every enterprise, data scientist, developer, information worker in the world. And from here onwards, all the contents I'll be covering will be specific to Microsoft AI offerings. So when it comes to Microsoft AI offerings, the majority or all the offerings or the core of the offerings are part of the Azure AI. And under Azure AI, under Apps and Agent, we have Azure Bot Service and Cognitive Services. Under Knowledge Mining, we have Azure Cognitive Search. And under Machine Learning, we have Azure Databricks, Azure Machine Learning, and Azure AI Infrastructure. If this is the first time you're hearing about this, then these are the resources that you can follow. One of the resources I would like to highlight here is AI School, which is a really good site to go and find out the latest and greatest information on various AI related topic. Another site I would like to mention here is edx.org, where you can find a lot of good tutorials, not only from Microsoft, but other big corporations like Amazon, Google, IBM, and some top educational institutions throughout the world that you can take for free. And you can also get the certification by paying some nominal fees. So if you are totally new to AI in Microsoft ecosystem, and if you don't know where to start, you can follow this simple flowchart. Its first question you ask is what you would like to do, whether you would like to build your own machine learning model, or you would like to consume, excuse me, the services are out there. So if you would like to build your own machine learning model, then Azure Machine Learning is for you. If you are just interested in consuming the services, then Cognitive Services and Bots are for you. So let's talk about what are cognitive services. So cognitive services are AI as a services from Microsoft, and they are nothing but the REST-based APIs. So all you need to know to use the cognitive services, what's the URL of your REST-based service and a subscription key. As long as you have that, you can start using cognitive services in any platform of your choice, in any language of your choice, as long as that platform and that language supports consumption of a REST-based API. And if you look, majority of the popular frameworks or majority of the popular platforms or popular languages supports REST-based API. Not many people know, but Microsoft is doing phenomenal job in the research since last 20 years. And a lot of the machine learning models that Microsoft uses for these cognitive services are actually product of the Microsoft research. There is a really good documentation available on Microsoft sites like docs.microsoft.com, on GitHub, and also there is a good community support as well. So if you have any questions, you can always post that question on the Stack Overflow, and Microsoft is paying their staff to monitor that and answer the questions. And also, if you need to see any new feature in the cognitive services, you can always go to the user voice and request that. Now, since cognitive services are nothing but the REST-based APIs, where can we use the cognitive services? So we can use cognitive services in any application that can consume REST-based API. Now, if you are a developer, then you can use that in JavaScript application, console application, .NET application. You can use that in Java-based application. You can use that in iOS application, in Node.js application, Logic apps. If you're not a developer, if you're IT pro or a power user, you can use that with Microsoft Flow or Microsoft Power Automate. You can use that with SharePoint Designer. Not many people are familiar with this product, but this product is deprecated by Microsoft. However, there are some scenarios where this product is still getting used. And this product has a feature where you can consume a REST-based API. Then you can also use with any third-party product like the leading RPA products like the UiPath or Blue Prism or WinAutomate. As long as that product allows you to consume REST-based API, you should be able to consume cognitive services within that product. So with that, let's talk. Let's go to the demo of cognitive services. Again, feel free to ask any questions you may have. I'm monitoring the chat window here, so I can see the questions. So use your favorite browser and use your a favorite a search engine, and just search for Microsoft Cognitive Services. And the link we are looking for is this one, Cognitive Services API for AI developers. So click on that. And here on this page, you will see the introductory information about cognitive services. But what we are interested in is, let me see if I can show you this with the subtitles running in the backend. So let me readjust this. All right. And then adjust size. So, okay, so that the subtitles are all also available to us. Perfect. All right. All right. So on this page, just scroll down, and here you see all the latest and greatest cognitive services that are available from Microsoft. And right now, these cognitive services are categorized into 5 different categories under decision, language, speech, vision, and web search. By default, decision is selected, and under decision, what we have is we have anomaly detector, we have content moderator, we have metrics advisor, and personalizer. If you go to the language, we have immersive reader, we have language understanding, Q&A maker, text analytics translator. If you go to the speech, we have speech to text, text to speech, speech translation, speaker recognition, which is under preview. Under vision, we have computer vision, custom vision, face, form recognizer, and video indexer. And under web search, we used to have Bing search API, but now those are moved under Microsoft.com. So when it comes to the content cost classification, the 2 APIs that we will be using, one of the API is text analytics, which is under the language, and second is under vision, which is the computer vision. So let me show you a quick demo of the text analytics API. So I'll be right click on this and then opening in a new tab. And on this page, you will see the information about the text analytics API. It basically helps you to uncover insights about the text, like what's the sentiment, what are some of the key phrases, and what are some of the entities are there in the unstructured text. So if you scroll down here, we have a sample application where the text is already there. Earlier, there used to be a buttons where we could play with this text, but looks like Microsoft has removed that. But this will give an overview how this API work. So we can send. So this particular application has sent this particular text to the API, the text analytics API, and that API came back with the results in the right hand section here, where it is confident that the language here is English. Then key phrases are this one, and the sentiment. And the sentiments are mentioned per sentence. So the sentence one, the sentiments are positive. It's to like anything towards 100% is a positive statement. Anything towards 0% is a negative statement. And then if you scroll down, you'll see the name entities and pin entities. And if you like what you saw, and if you would like to try this, or if you scroll down, here you'll see the link to the lot of code samples and the documentation about this particular API. And if you like what you saw, to use this API or to use this service, you need to have valid Azure subscription. Now let's see what I have in here. All right, so let's see what are some of the practical use cases that we have seen when it comes to the AI in our personal life. We have seen spam and fraud detection. If you are traveling overseas and if you didn't inform your credit card company, and then you start shopping in a new country, and let's say you purchase 5 or 6 items within a span of 1 hour, you may get automatic alerts via email or text or phone call from your credit card company saying that they are seeing some unusual activity. And the reason they can do that, because they have a sophisticated machine learning algorithm running in the backend, which can predict your behavior or your purchasing pattern. And if they see any discrepancy, then they automatically alert you. We have the AI and ML already get when you apply for a mortgage, or when you apply for a loan. A lot of big financial institutions already have sophisticated machine learning algorithm which they use, which give them recommendation whether this loan application, whether they should pursue this loan application or not. Recommendation engine, which is most of us are familiar with, especially if you are watching content on popular streaming services like YouTube or Netflix or Amazon Prime, or you are purchasing a lot of stuff from Amazon, Walmart.com, or other popular e-commerce site. What they do is, depending on your purchase habit, and your history and your location, age, and the time of the year, they can give you various recommendation. When it comes to the streaming platform, depending on your history, depending on your location, age, and also your interest, you'll see some recommendations from them. A lot of aircraft companies use the machine learning models to do predictive maintenance. Machine learning gets used a lot in optical character recognition, in natural language processing and machine translation, and in autonomous system as well. So for the content classification, the application we design, so this is the high level business logic we use. Like, I cannot show you the minute parts of it, but just to give you the understanding, this is the application design we use when it comes to the classification of network drives. Now, if you ask any CIO, or if you ask any IT admin, the number one problem they have these days is they have this massive file shares or network drives where there is a lot of legacy content. They really don't know what to do with that, whether shall they discard that, or whether shall they archive that. And when it comes to moving that content to the cloud, let's say, a lot of companies tend to like just lift and shift the content. But however, what has been observed is that content is not classified properly. In the sense is, maybe the content is related to the finance department, but that content may be sitting in some folder with name as a new folder or something like that, where nobody will notice that what kind of contents is below that particular folder. So here what you can do is, you can use AI services, where the AI services or cognitive services will scan the content, will identify what this content is all about, then add the appropriate tags. And once you have that information, like the appropriate tags for each document, then it's up to you what you would like to do with that, whether you would like to move to a different folder, or whether you would like to move to a different location in the public cloud storage. So the application design is, go through all the folders and identify the file types, like what kind of files are there. For the text and Word documents, we will be using Text Analytics API and tag the files. For the images, scan PDF, we will use the Computer Vision API and tag the files. And then we will be moving that files depending on the tags. And when it comes to the movement, that movement can be anywhere. It can be, again, another folder in the network share, or it can be any public cloud storage, like the cloud storage in Azure or AWS or in Google or in IBM platform. Or even you can move that to Microsoft 365 SharePoint, or in Microsoft Teams as well. So let's talk about Text Analytics API. So Text Analytics API help us to analyze unstructured text for the task. So it helps us with the language detection, the key phrase extraction, the sentiment analysis, and it uses advanced natural language processing. And this is the link we can go to find the Text Analytics API. So these are the various endpoints available. So your endpoint of the Text Analytics API will be your name of the Text Analytics API, whatever name you select, /text/analytics/ the version, which is 3.0 right now, and then you will be then under then if you would like to know the key phrases, then your endpoint URL will be key phrases. If you would like to know the language, then your endpoint URL will be the language. If you would like to know the sentiment, then your endpoint URL will be sentiment. And if you would like to know the entities, then and the recognition general, so this will be your endpoint. With that, let's go to the demo of the text analytics API. Again, I will be going back to the page here where I open the text analytics API. Now let's go ahead and create the text analytics API app in the Azure. So for this one, you need the a valid Azure subscription. So for this, I will be going to the Azure portal here, and let me find out if the zoom is right here. Let me zoom this a bit. Then click on the creator resource and search for text analytics. And this is the app that we are looking for, the text analytics from Microsoft. Then click on create. Then we should be using the name. So I'll be calling the name as, let's say, IT Pro Dev Connections Demo Text Analytics app. Then you have to select the subscription. Looks like both the subscription I have is disabled, so I'll be going with this one. Then you have to provide the location. So the location is the key. Depending on where exactly you will be using this application, use the appropriate location. And then use the pricing tier. So each service, each cognitive services comes with a free tier where you will be allowed to use the service for free with some limitations. Only caveat is you can use one free service per subscription. So if you have already used that, you cannot use that anymore. So I'll be going with this one, and then select the resource group. So you can create a new one if you have not already done that. And then once you click create, this particular service will get created. So the next thing is, let's go ahead and do that. If everything is right, then this service will get created. Let's see. Looks like it's taking more time than usual. So what I'll be doing is I'll be opening the existing service that I have already created, and then I will just walk you through that. So the service I created, let me go to the all resources and select the appropriate service here. Appropriate resource group is going to be the AI. Okay, and here I have where is that text analytics? Yeah, this one. All right. So I created this service, and looks like there are some issues with it. Don't worry. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and go back and just create a new one from scratch. You know what? I'll be using another subscription, so don't worry. Let me go ahead and go to my another portal here. Okay. There was some issue with that one. So let's go to portal.azure.com here. And we'll be doing the same steps where I'll be creating the new text analytics API app. And once I have that, then I'll be using that in my custom code. So I'll be going ahead with create a resource. And then text analytics. And once this page loads, then I'll click create. Again, while I'm doing this, I am keeping track of the chat window. So if you have any questions, feel free to post your questions in the chat window. And just like we did for other one, I will also resize this window so the subtitles are visible at the bottom. All right, so I'll go ahead and click on create. All right, let's refresh this page. All right, so I'll be giving the name as TGB demo text analytics app 01, and then I will use the subscription, appropriate subscription, and then the location, the pricing tier. Again, you can go with the free. You can start with the free tier, and then I will use the appropriate resource group and then click create. So once everything is right, this particular service will they'll start get provision for you, and it will take maybe a couple of minutes for this service to get provision. And once the service is provision, then you will get a notification in the top where this service will be ready for the consumption. So the two important things for this to use this service is we need to know the endpoint URL and we need to know the subscription key. As long as we have those two, we can start using this in our application. So I'm just waiting for that, and once that is done, then I will show you how to get the endpoint URL and also how to get the subscription key. While that is happening, this is a good time to ask any questions you may have in the chat window. And I will use this time to paste my contact details. Okay. Looks like the deployment is still going on. So while the deployment is going on, let me show you the sample application that I have created using the Visual Studio here. So here, what I have done is I have created a sample application where we will be going through a couple of files on my machine, and we will be reading the contents of the file. And once the content is once we extract the content, then we will be sending that content to the text analytics API to find out information about what the language the content is written, what are some of the key phrases, and what are some of and whether what's the sentiment score. Now, depending on the key phrase and depending on the language, then we can decide what tags need to be added to this document, and depending on the tag, then it's up to you where you would like to move this document. Now let me go back and see if this particular resource is provision. Yes, the resource is provision. So let's go to the resource here. So the most important thing is if you go to the overview, this will be the endpoint URL. Again, you can customize this depending on your need. So by default, that's the URL you will get. So let me paste this to the notepad, and then let me go back to the deck here. And if you remember, so if you go here and let me, okay. So for example, if I had to extract the language, so my endpoint URL will be this particular URL, UI or URL, and then slash text slash analytics slash version 3.0 and slash language. So this will be my endpoint URL for detecting the language. Similarly, for key phrases, I will be using key phrases. For the sentiment, I will be using the sentiment. Now, the next thing I need is the subscription keys. So for that, click on the keys and endpoint. And here you can just copy the subscription key, and then you can start using that in your application. So here I have this sample application built, where let me quickly update few settings because I will be using a totally new application here. So give me like just a minute where I update the information about the subscription and also the endpoint URL. So give me a minute, and once that is done, I will start running this application in the debug mode. Okay, and let's go to the helper class, and all I need to do is copy this, and let's just replace this. All right, and then we will be good. Okay, 1 is done, 2 is done, 3 is done. Okay. All right, so everything is done. Now let me open this in here, and what I'll be doing here is I have a couple of files on my file system. Let me quickly show you that, and then I will be just going through the contents of the file. And so these are the two files I have on my file system. Test document 1, test document 2. So I'll be basically reading the contents of this two document, then sending that content to the text analytics API, and then depending on the results, I will then decide what kind of tags to assign, and then depending on the tags, I will move to a different location. So this is the text I have in this one, which is very simple text. Cognitive services are awesome, Microsoft is awesome, and AI is awesome. And in the second document, what we have is we have some text, and we also have an image, and we have some information available in the form of table. Like we have this text at the top, we have an image, and we have some information available in the form of a table. So let's go ahead and debug this application. And again, to do this, what you can do is you can go to the text analytics page and find out the information. So I'm using C# here, but let's say if you would like to use Node.js, Java, Python, so there are some tutorials available depending on the language of your choice. So I'll be starting a new instance here. And once everything starts working, then I should be able to go through this code, and then I should be able to read the content of the file, send that to the text analytics API, and then the result should come back. So what I'll be doing is I'll be quickly progressing through the code, and I'm more interested in showing you the results. So let me quickly run through this code. Okay, the reading of the document is done. Again, this source code is available on my GitHub page, where you can find this exact same source code. Okay. All right. Looks like there are some issues with my code. Let me quickly stop the debugger and make sure I have entered the right URL endpoints. Oh, yep. There was a mistake here. All right. Let me start the debug again. There was a copy paste error. Okay, now it should start running again. Okay, let's step through the code real quick. And once everything is output on the screen, then I will walk you through what exactly happened here. Okay, so we have the sentiment score, we have the language. All right, so let me show you the values on the console. So if you see here, what happened is we read the content of the document. The first thing we did is we extracted the sentiment score here, and this is the sentiment score that came for each particular sentence in that document. So some sentences were positive, some sentences were like okay, like the first one, this one, cognitive services are awesome. So that one was like positive statement. But what we are more interested is in the key phrases. So if you look at this, in the first document, the key phrases came as the cognitive services and Microsoft and AI. And in the second document, it came as a US election and USA great. And when it comes to the language, the first document, the language came as English, with a confidence score of almost like 87%, which is very good. In the second one, also the language came as English, with this confidence score of almost 100%. So by using the key phrases and language, we'll know what language the document is written and what are some of the key phrases. If I had to do this manually, then I had to basically put lots and lots of efforts in it. The next cognitive service that I would like to cover is the computer vision API. So computer vision API again help us to process images and return information based on the visual features of the image. It has inbuilt optical character recognition. We can do tag visual features. We can detect objects. We can detect brands. And we can also categorize an image. We can also detect faces inside the image, and we can also detect the image types. We can also use computer vision API for moderation. And this is the link you can go to find more information about the computer vision API. And just like our text analytics API, this will be your endpoint URL, the URL of your computer vision API app, computer vision app, then /vision/ the current version, which is 3.1. To do the OCR, you need to add /OCR. To analyze, you have to add /analyze. And to generate the thumbnail, you have to do /generate thumbnail. And to read, you have to like /read /analyze. So with that, let me quickly show you the demo of the text analytics API here. Oh, sorry, the computer vision API. So for that, again, use your favorite search engine and just search for Microsoft Cognitive Services. And the link we are looking for is this one. And let me make sure the zoom is right. Okay. And what we are looking here is under vision. Let's go to the computer vision. And this will be the product information about the computer vision you will find here. So what we are interested is in scroll down, you'll see this demo page here where a sample image is available, where the information about the sample image is available as part of whatever information that came back from the computer vision API is available in the right section here. And you can also provide your own image. And if you're interested, you can scroll down and see the sample application step by step. I think because of the time limitation, I will not be showing you the full demo of this one. But what I have is I have this particular service already, the sample application already open here, which is, let's see, not this one. Okay, the correct link is, yep, this one. So let me paste the URL of this link in the chat window as well, so you can have this for your reference. If you go here, you will see we have step-by-step tutorial available how to use this in a C# app. But one of the thing about is here, once you provide the image, it will give you the information back in terms of what are some of the tags in the images are, and then it also have the confidence score associated with it. So if the confidence score is high, that means the machine learning algorithm which Microsoft is using behind the scene is pretty confident, like whatever the information that is giving us. Another thing is if you really want to use or if you want to mine the information from your existing knowledge base, I definitely recommend you to go to this particular GitHub sample that is available from Microsoft, where you will be finding the detailed information how to build a custom app, which helps you to mine the information using the cognitive services, where you will have you can extract by finding the key phrases, you can then find out which particular document has that, the language information, and this is how it's going to work. So I definitely recommend you that you follow this, like you play with this GitHub sample and then see whether see exactly how the knowledge mining work. When it comes to the knowledge mining, Microsoft recently launched another product or offering under Microsoft 65 called Project Cortex. And what it's and under Project Cortex, they launched an offering called SharePoint Synex. And what SharePoint Synex does is it's the first product from Project Cortex, and it uses advanced AI and machine teaching, uh, and it helps you to extract and analyze the content from or analyze it helps you to automate content processing and transform content into the knowledge. So I really recommend you to check this out because it has a lot of inbuilt features that you will need for the knowledge mining or content extraction if your content is already in the Microsoft 65 platform. Again, this is a SaaS offering. That means you have to pay additional subscription fee for this one, but it's a really good way, a good segue of doing that, especially if you are interested in that. So we saw the demo, we saw this one. So in case you would like to play with the cognitive services and you would like to use cognitive services with other offerings in Microsoft ecosystem, then I recommend you to follow this couple of links. You can go to this Office Developer Program link where you can sign up for free for the Office Developer Program. And once you sign up, you can get your personal Microsoft 365 subscription for free with E5 license. Now, E5 is the highest available license in Microsoft 365, and you get a E5 tenant with 25 users, and that tenant is valid for 30 minutes, 90 days. And after 90 days, if you are using the tenant for personal training and development, Microsoft will graciously increase your trial for another 90 days. So I am using, and this cycle continues, and I'm using this tenant from this program from last 1.5 years because I'm actually using this. So you can see, as long as you keep using it, Microsoft will keep extending your trial. You can always sign up for the free trial as well. And with Microsoft 365, you also get access to Power Platform products like Power Automate and Power Apps as well. To use cognitive services, you need access to Azure. These are a couple of ways to get your personal Azure subscription. One is through the MSDN, where depending on the type of subscription you have, you get $150 credit or less than that, depending on what type of you have. But the good thing about it is you don't need to use credit card. And let's say if you already exhaust your credit, then everything will stop, so you won't have to pay anything extra. And as soon as the next billing cycle occurs, you can then start using your $150 credit again. You can always sign up for the free trial. And right now in United States, Microsoft is giving $200 of credit for free, which we can use within a span of 1 year. However, you need a credit card for it. There is another program from Microsoft called Microsoft Imagine. It used to call DreamSpark before. You don't need a credit card for this, but all you need is a valid .edu account from participating school and institution. And the Azure subscription you get via this has some limited feature set available. So hopefully the content we covered today made you explore the cognitive services, especially using cognitive services for some of the practical applications. And if you don't have access to Microsoft 65 and if you want to learn the latest and greatest features in Microsoft 65, definitely join the developer program. So these are the things we covered today, and these are the references. And with that, thank you very much for coming to this session. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to me. I am available on Twitter. I'm also available on LinkedIn. With that, thank you very much for joining. Stay safe, stay healthy, and let me know if you have any questions in the chat window.